My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And welcome back, Chris, coming off of his vacation. So we have Chris Abakan.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be back.
What's going on? So Daniel is taking a break this week, so we shall hopefully have him on in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have a full 4-man roster pretty soon, but definitely continue to tune in. So like, share, subscribe. Hit up all of the websites that go by our name, either the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or ask a CISSP. We have an article for each of our episodes, as well as now a weekly newsletter called the Weekly Rundown, just like the last show. So without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article actually comes from, let me see here, the HernandoSun.com, written by the Hernando Sun staff. And the title of this one is County Remains Tight-Lipped About Cybersecurity Incident, right? So this one actually happened a few weeks back, but there was a disruption in a county's information technology services, right? And we've seen this before, where you have a lot of these hackers that are going after, public services. They're going after counties and whole cities and whatnot. That they're like these are soft targets now, right? Like it's becoming one of those things where you're seeing it all the time, right? So what was happening was there was this ransomware attack, and they were trying to decipher whether or not data was stolen, and there's not a lot of information being put out there, right? The county is being very tight-lipped about what's going on, which is not the way to go about this, right? Like if people's information is in danger or if it's been compromised, you should definitely 100% be out there in front of this saying, hey, this is what happened, blah, 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 just letting everybody know, right? But this is something we've talked about in the past, right? So when they had this incident, guess what they did, right? They reached out to CISA, right? Because CISA offers these services to actually help different organizations and local governments, in this case, a county government, deal with these types of things, right? So they reached out to CISA, and this is what they do, right? Like this is their bread and butter. And them being out there to help them with it it's very good for them, right? Because we've seen it time and time again where a lot of these counties and these cities, they don't invest the time, the money, and the effort into their cybersecurity by itself. They should, right? And things like this happen, right? So they had a countywide network interruption based off this, right? But again, they're being very quiet about what's going on with it and what's happening. They've even had to close down. They've had to close down some of their offices, right? And when they opened up, they had limited capacity. They couldn't do everything they needed to because, again, in this day and age, as we say every week, right, technology runs everything, right? Like everything we do is technology based, and which requires cybersecurity, right? Like if you're going to have the ease of doing things using IT, you need to make sure you're protecting that IT, right? So this is still under active investigation. I saw a different story which says that they have come up a little bit more. They're doing a little bit better than what they were, but again, not very forthcoming of what's going on, right, in this instance. But this is why you need to invest in your cybersecurity, right? You start losing things that you didn't know you wanted until you don't have access to them anymore, right? So, Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, my first immediate thoughts were pretty close to home to us. I'm in Hernando County. I know Rise over Pasco, and then Hernando is right next to us. So Tampa Bay, Hernando County is a growing area. So I am sure the population and shot up with a much, as well as the increased income from the new residents, the homes being built, right? So as everybody knows, Florida is proliferating in that respect. But to me, it seems the IT infrastructure has been behind the curve in this case, right? So with that additional taxpayer money, with that, again, I don't know the specific situation of Hernando County, but if they have X amount more for property taxes. I know a lot of that goes to the county, right? We have to look into, at least that specific county has to look into adding additional extra, migrating to approved state services, state cloud services, right? So there's state ramp out there, there's FedRAMP designated services out there. But again, I am unsure of how they operate. Maybe they don't have some type of managed detection and response, or some type of outsourced IT firm that does things like this for them. But again, this has presented itself a big disruption to the operations, right? So if they're down for an extended period of time, they're going to be unable to pay taxes. They're not going to be able to renew or perhaps registration for their vehicles. So there's a lot of things going on that could hamper their operation. As to how they're going about it, I am curious how CISA is advising them to, obviously they're probably telling them they don't pay a ransomware if they've got a ransomware attack, right? I'm assuming it is. It might be a ransomware attack or some type of breach, but really that's flying in the wall right there, right? I personally think that some type of breach happened. And if that did happen, I do believe that they need to put that out there, right? They need to let the public know that, hey, look, we've been they've obviously been compromised, but I do stand with Sharon that I think PC is the best course of action in this regard, letting everybody know, letting their citizens know, because I want to know what happened with my data, right? Because the moment everybody OPM, hey, look, you're right, or somebody's advanced persistent threat has information, they sent out probably an email to everybody in the government that works in the government capacity. Not an email, a mail. So there's a lot of paper that they sent over to all of us. So, yeah, I think there needs to be transparency in this specific topic, as well as, hey, maybe there needs to be a little more scrutiny on the side of IT structure, IT environment, and a focus on some and its implementation.
No, absolutely. So I'm sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button.
Yeah.
So speaking of visibility, because I think it is crucial in this regard, we are very visible. So if you want to find us anywhere on the interwebs, please check out the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. We have articles on LinkedIn, Medium, a newsletter, and all the above. So please continue to check us out. We're trying to hit 500 subs, hopefully June. So we don't have much time left, but we're almost at 400. So the numbers are trickling in. And that was a mediocre segue. I'm going to try to do better throughout the rest of the week. So please don't unsubscribe because the segues are trash. Without more information, I didn't want to press too deep into this one because it's still kind of unfolding. But I think it's an interesting conversation because we've talked about it happening in Dallas. We talked about it happening in Maine. We talked about it happening in New York. Had very similar attack where it took out E911 services. There was a county in California it happened to. So this is becoming more of the norm, right? To attack the local government, to extort money is what they're going for, but also disrupt service. So I think both of you hit it on the head with what Chris said with state ramp. It's going to have to be the future, right? So like FedRAMP and CMMC 2.0 are kind of leading the charge on the federal side of the government, the Department of Defense, and it's going to have to trickle down to the local governments. Everybody's going to have to get off-prem, get in the cloud, be secure. Not to say that the cloud is the holy grail, but that it's just like when it comes to funding, like it's more efficient, it's more streamlined. It's just give it to somebody else who knows what they're doing or knows how to handle it better, and then you just have somebody who is on-prem that can help out with the technical piece of it, migration and client support. Because this can't continue to happen because it's really crippling local communities, and this data is just out there. So we don't know if it's a ransomware attack. We don't know what they have. Hopefully it's just surface level. But if it's like Maine, then it will be worst case scenario. Everybody's social will be out there, right? So now people are buying boats and yachts and property in your name, or it could just be just as which is still bad, but it could disrupt E911 services and somebody could lose their life, right? Because the paramedics can't get there in time because they can't communicate. So we just have to shrink our footprint. And the only thing I can think of is to take it into the cloud.
You're doing a little foreshadowing there.
Yeah. I guess I am.
I think it is an accurate assessment. I think because I'm guessing cybersecurity it's probably delegated to the states, right? So I don't know if there's some type of federal incentive or federal program or legislation mandating such things, but
or at least an on-ramp, right?
Right.
And CISA is taxed as it is, so I don't know if that will be it, but some federal entity to say, here's your migration plan, here are your different options, right? You have A, B, or C to get to into a more safe environment, and here is the policy and procedures we're using at the federal level for you to adopt.
I know we like to say that it's universal that everybody wants cybersecurity and whatnot, but I don't know if that's going to play so well in every state, right? Like when you start talking about big government coming down and implementing things or mandating anything, we have problems with that in America. You know what I mean? Like
That's
people
true.
you know what I'm saying? Like you're going to have issues or that's going to get fought tooth and nail. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the end benefit is trying to be. They will always go to the worst case scenario. And Krista, what you were talking about, man, with infrastructure and with them building more houses and getting more tax money and whatnot, cyber is out. I don't think that's where they're thinking about putting that money. When they think infrastructure, they think roads, different public
Schools.
services for like water, schools, things of that nature. They're not thinking about the cybersecurity aspect of this.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean? So I think that's why. I think that's why probably they're in the situation that they are because I mean they're getting more money, but they're like, okay, we got to widen the roads, right? Like how often does that happen where you move to an area, or if you've ever been in an area where they get larger? Because I'm experiencing it out here in Colorado Springs. The area gets larger and they're just expanding roads, and then it's like, okay, we have to rerun this water going this way. We got a new neighborhood coming over here, so we got to do this, right? And then it ends up being more traffic and things of that nature. But cybersecurity, probably not even thought about.
Right, and that's why I like this. This should have been a discussion episode actually, but that's why I think it should be a la carte kind of service provided by the Fed, right? Like again, like I completely agree with you. Like it's going to be heartache, and people are going to be upset. Like, oh, the government's telling me what to do, but big government builds it, and then they just say, hey, here are your different options for you to jump into it. I think would be a better mousetrap, but like you said, like. But they all agreed on TikTok, so maybe maybe we can get there with this as well. But I think that would be a great solution, in my opinion, right? But how much would that cost? I don't know.
Yeah, so that on the funding side of the house, right? If there was let's say CISA says, hey, look, you can get on our cloud platform, right? You can, I know a lot of companies, they provide these, hey, you can follow under our tenant, right? And you can, one, get faster to compliance because you already meet like 90% of the controls required, right? But what would be so different about, a state version of that? Like, hey, this is the state environment that the government built for this many this purpose, right? So that it could have that higher oversight, it could have clearances, right? It can go through that level of scrutiny on the federal level, but at the state level, I'm not sure how background investigations will work on the state, but I'm sure it's no federal security investigation. There's no way it's to that level of detail. But yeah, you can cover a lot of those, or from NIST if going with a federal backed cloud solution.
So we'll see what the future holds. I can't see because my and to wrap this up. My fear would be they would do like we did in the DoD originally. Like you have your Air Force environment, your Army environment, your Navy environment. Because we all have different missions, so we need different levels of restriction, right? Because we're all doing different things. But at the end of the day, it looks like that's going away because it's just not a sustainable. And I don't want to keep using the word environment, but it's not a sustainable concept because we're all like. You're spending your money in so many, you're spinning your wheels and you're spending your money in so many different directions when you could just say, okay, what is like, who has the worst of it? And let's build it off of that and then go from there. And I think that if the Fed did it first, then the states could follow suit. And then people be more, better protected, in that regard. But, we'll see what comes of the future. I think it's a good money grab for your AWS, your Azure, right? To say, okay, we built this. Now here's a smaller container that'll cover your tax collectors and your, judicials and your whomever needs to be in this environment. But it's a lot of coordination, right? So,
I mean, you could even make it to, hey, you can find a local reseller of those services, that can provide that. And as long as they meet this certain level of, cybersecurity standards, I think it's also possible, or maybe I'm being optimistic, but some type of state level cybersecurity, force. We'll see what the future holds. As these things get more attention, there's going to be more investment, more excitement for it. But it is. I guess it is excitement. There's more of a need for cybersecurity. So, as they see a lot of states and a lot of counties are being crippled, I hope this is on the forefront of legislators and state senators.
Yeah, absolutely. So when Chris Apricot Enterprises built it, your the silent investors, Ryan and Shannon, will be very
Right,
excited. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be at the ground floor.
for sure, for sure. We
So,
need all three: GCP,
right.
Azure, and
So again, I think you are correct though. We will see what the future holds. But definitely continue to tune in. Hit us up by the website, say by our name, the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or ask a CISSP. Like, share, subscribe, and check out our newsletter. Drops every week. You can find me on various platforms as RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. And where can I find you, Chris?
you can find me on LinkedIn under Chris Addercom. Just send me a message, say connect, and I'll gladly connect with you.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.